This was a little bit different. The water coming down to say, don't board our ship. We've not given you permission to board our ship. We're in international waters, 70 miles off the coast, well outside even the Israeli security zone. Well, as we saw helicopters coming over the top of the Marmara, the captain of the Marmara radioed the captain of our small boat saying, "You're the speediest little boat we've got in the flotilla." All the rest of the ships were going about 8 knots. Our little ship could go about 20 knots. But we were held back because we were going at the speed of the slowest vessel as a part of the flotilla. The decision was made that our little boat would go ahead and try to bring with it some of the Zodiacs to pull them off the Marmara. So we shot ahead, and we did not see what happened on the Marmara. What happened to us was that about 15 minutes as going at top speed, all of a sudden a light came across from the port bow across in front of us, and all of a sudden all the power on our ship was pulled off. We just all of a sudden stopped. The captain of our ship had seen a giant Israeli naval vessel come straight in front of us. The captain said we were not there to ram anybody, we were not there to get anyone hurt, and he stopped. At that point, the Zodiac boats that were paralleling us came right into the stern of our ship and started firing the same percussion grenades, blowing them into the windows of the cabin of the ship, breaking out the windows with loud bangs, with smoke everywhere. Our decision on our ship of how you peacefully, non-violently confront violence was that we were putting people, our passengers, up on the railings to say to those commandos, you have no permission to come on board our ship. We decided we would put the women of the ship up around the railings because we knew what would happen if the guys were up there, that the old testosterone would start taking over. And we decided we would put the women up there. And the women, I'll tell you what, talk about some good yelling, including Huwaida Arif, who's done this several different times, of yelling, "Stop, stop, you can't come on our boat, no permission to our boat, do not enter our boat, get away from here." And what do you think happened? Well, these 18, 19, 20-year-old commandos, just like our U.S. military, as they're entering the homes of Iraqis and Afghans, they just run over whomever's there. With masks on their faces, with no names on their uniforms, no rank, on board they came, pushing and shoving and throwing people to the ground in the glass on the decks that had been broken out from the windows, coming up to the flybridge of our ship where the captain was, where our two Australian reporters were up there, tasering the woman photojournalist that was there, almost knocking her off scooting her along the top. A person who had done nothing, but she was tasered. Paintballs being shot. The Israeli military and government was very careful to say, we were using nonviolent weapons. We had paintballs, just paintballs. Well, Joe will tell you about what paintballs do because he got shot with one of them. And one of the women on our ship got shot with one of them, right in the face. As a military person, we're taught where you shoot people to disable them, you shoot them in the legs. But if you want to kill them, you shoot them in the chest and you shoot them in the face. And even with paintballs, those things can kill people. The women on the back of the ship, 2 of them were handcuffed, were masked, hooded, and taken to the bow of the ship. And they continued to yell at them, yell at the commandos. The commandos came into the main lounge of our ship and forced everyone to sit down, to stay there. You could not move unless somebody gave you permission to get up to go to the restroom where you were escorted. Immediately we were searched, all of our equipment of whether it was a camera, a cell phone, a computer, all of that immediately taken from us. Every bag on board the ship was searched. We then were proceeding toward the town of Ashdod on the coast of Israel. But back on the Marmara, a very different story was taking place, that And you probably saw the pictures of this, the film clip of the commandos coming out of the helicopters above the Marmara, and that some of the commandos were hit by passengers on the ship. And I mentioned, you know, that we had made a pledge of nonviolent resistance. So what happened there? What happened with the sticks and the railings that some of the guys had that they were hitting the Israeli commandos? Well, this is one of the reasons we need to demand a neutral investigation of what happened. There are reports by an Al Jazeera reporter on the top deck that there was gunfire coming from the helicopters, and in fact, one of the passengers that was standing next to him all of a sudden crumpled and fell into a pool of blood. And if that story is true, then one would certainly imagine that people that were standing around where this passenger was lying in the pool of blood would probably pick up something and might start hitting the commandos as they came down. And we did see that. I mean, it was brutal. It was not, I looked at it and went, oh my gosh, look at that. How did it end, though? We don't know. I mean, we didn't see on that video that the Israeli military had taken. That was the Israeli military's shot of that, taken from a military helicopter standing off the Marmara. They stopped the film at about 5 seconds, and they didn't show us how the melee on the top deck ended. And it ended just a couple of seconds later when the captain of the Marmara came out of the wheelhouse along with the director of the Turkish NGO with a bullhorn to be yelling at everyone on the top deck, stop, stop, stop beating the commandos. That's not what we're doing. Take the commandos down to the first aid station and get them treated. And they had a Turkish doctor that was on the top deck, and they told the doctor, these guys are in your charge, and take them downstairs and get them treated and turn them back over to the Israeli military immediately, because we don't want to have any allegations that we have captured and we're holding those Israeli soldiers. And that's what happened. And you may have seen some photos in the newspaper of photographs of some of the Israeli commandos, 3 of them, that had been hit. There was blood on them, and they were being cleaned up. Over 50 people were wounded. There were 9 people that were killed, 5 of them shot in the head, execution style. 1 of them, an American citizen. You know, our government has never said it was an American citizen. It said he's a Turkish American. Well, he's an American. He happened to be born in the United States of Turkish parents. He went back to Turkey with his parents, but he never got Turkish citizenship for some reason. He was still a resident of Turkey. Has our government made a big deal about an American citizen being killed and being shot 5 times by an Israeli soldier, an unarmed American on that ship? No, they haven't. 9 people killed. 35 shots in those 9 bodies. 35 shots. We don't know when the order was given to start shooting people. But very quickly, the captain of the ship started getting reports. We've got all of these people that have been wounded, and he started on the radioing to the Israeli military. We've got casualties on board. We've got lots of wounded people. We have no way to help them. The white flag is up. You know, we're peaceful, nonviolent, unarmed ship. We have no weapons. We need help for what has happened. It was a very difficult time. Many of the women, over 120 of the women were of the Muslim faith. And for them, you can imagine, most of them coming from Arab countries, none of them had ever been arrested in their lives. They had never been inside any jail in their life. And for that to be happening to them and being in an Israeli jail, you can imagine how scared people were. Those of us who have had a little bit different experience, how many of you all have been in jail before for peaceful nonviolent protest of very bad government policies? I'll add that to it. I'm sure there are plenty of you all who have, like myself, been arrested in front of the White House or in the Congress for protesting the wars, the torture, I mean, what else is there? So much.